So, not much is going on. What else is in the news?
What else is in the news? Let me look.
Kind of a slow day at the office.
Yeah, not too much going on. Oh, well, there is this, I guess.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's something.
Oh. Wow.
Would you look at that?
That changes things.
Warning, all views expressed in this show, past, present, and future, are satirical in nature. We here at the Fumcast are smooth-brained and naive. Listener discretion is advised. Hector!
Howdy, folks. Welcome to the show.
Hi!
The Fumcast.
The Fumcast. Where we cast a whole lot of fum all over your face.
Oh, you betcha. So.
Yeah, there actually is quite a bit to talk about. Not a slow news week.
Yeah, it's, We're gonna do something a little bit different today.
Ooh, I'm excited.
It's just the two of us here. Bryson is not with us, although I'm sure he would love to be here because I think he probably has more about this to say than I do.
Oh, an ungodly amount to say, I'm sure.
But, in a rare change of pace, I actually have a lot to say myself, so I'm kind of glad that he's not here today. No offense. I know you're listening. I'm sorry.
He'll get his time to shine
But
after hearing this.
I'd like to be able to speak on my podcast. So,
Donald J. Trump is the next president of the United States. To start.
So,
Old fox hands.
first of all, we're going to have to say a lot of harsh things to get our points across today. So,
Lovely.
bear with us. But at the same time, we don't... I kind of want to handle it with kid gloves a little bit because it's a very sensitive subject.
Oh, really?
For a lot of people.
I have, other than just the presidency, I have very little idea of exactly why you're talking so elegantly about it, if you will.
Well, I have a lot to say, and I've been thinking about it for quite a while.
All right, bet. Lay it on us.
And for our normal listeners, the racist man children that we normally babysit throughout the week, you might want to just leave this one and return to our regularly scheduled programming next week.
The progressive cast.
Yeah. But, and I'm probably going to regret this, but we're going to have to tackle this with a little bit of sincerity.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Definitely a change of pace. Okay.
So. You want to start by telling me the story of your election night?
My election night?
Yeah.
I was in Discord playing Minecraft. I didn't give a single fuck. I knew exactly what the outcome was going to be.
Did you really?
It was close, but I always...
Were you, checking and stuff? Or?
I was checking occasionally, once every couple of hours. But I was surrounded by a bunch of much more Republican-sided people, opinion-wise.
Your cool friends.
Yeah, my cooler friends, if you will. And... I just knew it was going to happen. Something in me knew after the assassination photo.
Yeah.
Attempted assassination photo. Something just...
Yeah.
I've had a feeling in my bones.
I knew too.
As somebody who has many, exceptionally more left-leaning values than I do right-leaning values, of course.
Same.
I still didn't appreciate the idea of an entire campaign leveraged on pretty much... almost only the idea that, hey, we're not Donald Trump, so you should vote for us.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk a lot about that.
Yeah, I didn't see that holding much weight for Kamala. Although, good on her. She was close. She was only 4 million votes under Trump man from what I saw on the electoral map.
Well, if you want to bring that back
I
up
should probably pull the important thing back up.
That's all good. We're in no rush. Yeah. I had quite a different election night. What were the numbers? Yeah, it was like 4 million. Almost exactly. Give or take like 70,000, but I mean, yeah,
Good on her for keeping strong, I guess.
wild. Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Nevada. Damn. I heard, well, it'll fit in with the story. So, I was at work the entire night. And for a little bit of context, I work in a union shop.
A perfect place to be looking at the election
A
results.
lot of patriots in there, I'll tell you.
That's ironic.
Yeah. So basically, when the night started, I think I checked it, and he was at like 160, and she was at like 110 or 120 or something like that. So he was ahead, but it wasn't by far. And I kept checking throughout the night. I had terrible cell service in there, but I tried to keep checking. And I checked at like, I remember it was like 2:30 or 3 or something like that. And she was at like 2 something, but he was already all the way up at 267 by that point. And I was like, oh, shit. And, but at that time I was like, well, it's still early. This is where the tomfoolery and the shenanigans start, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I remember going to lunch, which was at 4 a.m. And so, like, there's the break room there, TVs, Fox News, all of them.
Of course.
1776, dude. And the locker room is attached to the break room, and I had to go in there to get my nicotine pouches out of my locker. And when I go into the locker room, I hear applause and cheering in the break room.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I'm an anxious person. I think I've probably talked about that before. So I didn't go in there because I don't like being around people, especially the people that I work with. And, but I went back over to I go sit like by myself. And I went back over there. It was still 267 to like, I can't remember what she was at. But at that point, he was doing his like victory speech basically.
Mm-hmm.
And, which I mean, at that point, you know, I think we all knew what was going to fucking happen.
Yeah.
And then after lunch, like around like 5 a.m., he was at like 277. And it was real then. And so like all the forklift drivers were fucking driving around honking their horns and shit. I heard Born in the USA several times. Yeah, dude. It was, like I said, some real fucking
Real
patriots. Oh yeah, dude. 1776. And yeah, that was my election night.
That sounds agonizing.
The thing about it was, and I talked to Bryson a bit about this in the morning after, is I hate Democrats because of what they did to Bernie Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked about that before.
Definitely fucking understandable.
For also several other reasons that we're going to get into. So my immediate reaction when I found out was I couldn't stop smiling. Which I know is not, it's not the reaction you're supposed to have. I understand that. I completely understand that. But it did, it was a weird fucking feeling. And I talked about it before. Like, if he wins this one, it proves it's not a fluke. And I said jokingly at the time that it proves that women aren't allowed to be president, which is a very funny concept to me. So, yeah. But I think now is a very important time to talk about her campaign specifically. Because it was a very interesting campaign. I mean, I think as we all remember, she ran in 2020 in the primaries, but she dropped out of the race before even the primaries began because she was literally that unpopular. And I think she also ran out of money because she tried to hire all of Hillary's people from before, and she didn't have the capital to back that up. I think. That could be wrong. I don't know.
I don't remember.
I'm not a news person, so it doesn't fucking matter. Getting fucking juiced up, dude.
Got jitters, man.
But I think the biggest problem with their campaigns is, fuck, how do I even want to articulate this? I guess my issue with them, even more so than what they did to Bernie, was Democrats act like people like me, working class, poor people, or black people, or Hispanics, or women, or gay people, or trans people, or any marginalized community deserve their votes just because they're Democrats. And I think that that is complete fucking horseshit.
Complete dog shit.
And we've seen where it gets us. And in a way, I'm very thankful that this happened, because it shows that when he won in 2016 wasn't a fluke. And I think the Democrats need to see that. Because, the campaign that she ran was... I mean, she completely co-opted the whole smugness and the conceitedness of this whole woke fundamentalism bullshit that's going on right now. And I'm not saying I disagree with all of it. People
But the sort of the better than thou attitude is
exactly
definitely distasteful.
I'm not
especially
saying
when coming from a politician of all people.
exactly. I'm not saying that people should be rude to people, or people should be racist or misogynist or transphobic or whatever.
Right.
Obviously not. But when you get on fucking Twitter and there's people with blue hair telling you, well, you should know her pronouns and you should know better to say that word and da, it makes people feel fucking stupid and they vote for this motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. Makes them feel villainized and creates an us and them mentality. And
Exactly.
then you get an us and them result.
And I already know that the return argument on that is going to be, well, they're hateful and blah, 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 blah. Well, whoever thought of fighting fire with fire? I mean, that's not...
It very clearly does not work.
Exactly. Especially when the stakes are this fucking high. I mean, he literally said during his campaign that Project 2025 is not the agenda. Just a few days ago, his representative said it is completely the agenda.
Lovely.
So, I mean...
I didn't know about that. I didn't know they reverted on that statement and they're going for Project. That's
Well, I mean, it was blatantly fucking obvious.
Yeah,
He wasn't telling the truth.
but I wouldn't expect a politician to go back and be like, "Oh, yeah, we actually are 100%."
Well, it wasn't him though. It was his people. That's the thing. It was like when the shit with Tony Hinchcliffe happened. He's like, I have no idea who he is. Never heard of him before.
I don't know who this person is.
Yeah.
He's talking about piles of garbage. It's very strange.
It's fucking stupid, dude.
The God King would never speak the truth, but his
Of
peons
course he
will.
wouldn't. Yeah, he lets them take the falls for him because it makes him look.
That is a smart decision.
It is smart. And I mean, one of the main things I noticed about her specifically was the way that she speaks and the way that her campaign speeches and the way that she, chose to tackle the campaign, which was with joy, which is it was an odd choice to make because basically the idea, from what I understand, was that, Trump's running, with fear-mongering and hate. Well, why don't we run a campaign based upon joy and try and kill him with kindness or whatever? And take advantage of this whole mamala image that she has and how she's a sweet old folksy black woman. And
It seems like it might work because it's the opposite of what he's doing. It seems like something good on paper.
Yeah, in theory.
Exclusively in theory. Because
Yeah.
there's too much, for lack of a better set of way more eloquent and educated way of talking about it, there's too much bad shit in America happening for joy and perfection to be the overall overarching message.
Well, yeah, and the idea of that it's like, well, it's a return to normalcy and we're going to get back on track. And it's like, well, we have all these fucking problems that we need to fucking deal with. And you just want to sit around and smile?
La, 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 la. That is not going to work.
You know, and I mean, she's not a very eloquent speaker. I mean, the few times that I did actually pay attention to her speaking, and I will admit that, you know, I'm completely talking out of my ass here. I'm just basing this on what I did see. She kind of reminded me of a drug addict, for lack of a better term. It was very weird. She seemed like she was on pills. I'm not sure what that's all about, but that's just my opinion.
She's on the extinct Quaaludes. Another thing, I saw people talking about how eloquently she speaks, and I never really got that. And I am also talking out of my ass. I only saw like 4 to 5 speeches to the entire campaign.
Yeah, same, basically.
But the idea was she's so much more of an eloquent speaker than what we currently have. And it's like, well, you're comparing him to Joe fucking Biden and Donald Trump. Of course she's going to be...
Yeah, why don't
somewhat on the pecking order. I would be a great president in that case.
Right. Well, why don't you compare her to speakers that actually matter, like Barack Obama or Bill Clinton? Or, you know what I mean? Like, So I personally didn't think she was a very good orator. You know, she kind of just... I think she thought she was going to get all the way through on vibes. You know, like the Yas Queen, strong woman, hot bitch, you know,
Coconut.
I'm just chilling in Cedar Rapids, Pokemon go to the polls. We've seen this playbook before.
Just chilling in Cedar Rapids.
Because this is a departure a little bit, but it's very funny because it reminds me exactly of how England performed in the Euros over the summer. I know it's a bit of a departure, but every single match that we played, we looked like shit. And then, like, in the last minute or just purely out of nowhere, we scored an equalizer, got it to extra time, got another goal. Oh shit, we're in the quarterfinals. Same thing in the semis, and it got us all the way to the final, and then we fucking lose to Spain. This is exactly what this reminds me of. You know, and I think she lacked certain moments in her campaign. I mean, you got to remember, she only had 2 or 3 months after Biden said I'm out and then handed it off to her.
She ramped up her campaign quick as fuck.
She did, but I think what I personally think one of the issues was that she had such a limited amount of time. Whereas Trump didn't have that because he was there the whole time, and he was sort of able to spend his last, waning days just doing a fucking victory lap.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he worked at McDonald's. He hung out with Aiden Ross. He went on the Joe Rogan Experience. He said cats and dogs. He got to, do a couple burnouts and, have a little bit of fun right at the end. She didn't have any chance to do that, and I don't think the Democrats would have let her do it anyway. I mean, they're
not the fun party after all.
And that's a problem. And, she's owned by donors and PACs, and we saw that in 2016 because a clear outsider, Bernie Sanders, ran against Hillary Clinton and got completely stomped because he wasn't a part of the establishment. And this is the problem that we're seeing now because she could have done, in my opinion, I thought about this, and there were 2 things that I think that she could have done during her campaign that would have set her apart, but she wasn't able to do because the donors wouldn't let her. Number 1, she could have renounced Joe Biden and said, look, he's an old fucking retard. Like, I want to change things, I'm here now and I'm trying my best, but we want to do, we want to go further, more progressive. We want to do better things for the country and do better things for the people. She could have very easily done that. He's going to be dead in a few years anyway. Who cares?
I feel like that would have been a good strategy too, because if I'm not correct, or if I'm not wrong, he's one of the most disliked presidents, if not the most disliked president of all time.
Oh, yeah.
He's not very popular.
No, he's not. And I will say it's not entirely his fault. Okay? He's in a very shitty situation with inflation and what's the other thing that I was thinking of? With inflation, with gas prices, with our foreign policy right now, supporting Israel and the war in Ukraine and shit, and dealing with China. It's not a good spot to be in. And he also inherited the presidency from that motherfucker. That's not very good. The only reason he did good in 2016, if you learned anything about economics in high school, is because he inherited the economy that Obama worked very, very hard for 8 fucking years. That he inherited from George Bush, who destroyed the housing market. So, anyway, another thing that I think that she could have done to combat him, which is it's a tactic that I haven't seen any of the candidates use, and if I'm wrong, call me out. But she could have complimented him.
Oh, how so?
She could have said, look, Mr. Trump, we're how would I word it? We're very happy with all your success. You've gotten a lot of people on the fringes into the political sphere and created new voters. You've changed the way that debates are made, and you've changed the way that political campaigns are made to reach more people, particularly younger audiences through memes and, whatever other bullshit. But I think we'd like to take this in a different direction. She could have very easily done that. But the problem is the Democratic donors wouldn't let her do that because orange man bad.
That has to be their whole campaign.
Exactly.
That's got to be a lot of the reason why people who get more fired up over the kind of things that Trump say didn't even consider voting for someone like Kamala, because they're constantly playing defense. There's no going after the other party with compliments or with insults.
Yeah.
I'm sure she got a couple of jabs in. Oh, well, this whatever the fuck.
Yeah, she got a couple Instagram reels and TikToks or, whatever. It's fine.
For the most part, it was all hinging on defense, though. Orange man
Right.
bad. We are not him.
But it's not enough either, And for a guy with the personality that he has, complimenting him and then saying, we want to change it up, he doesn't know what the fuck to do with that. He started out the debate in 2016 by calling Ted Cruz's wife a dog. That's the guy that we're dealing with. He doesn't know what to do with a compliment. He's from fucking New York. Those people are hard and they're mean. They don't know what the fuck to do with compliments. And she could have very easily done that, and I could be wrong. I'm not a political strategist, but these are just thoughts.
Thoughts on a podcast?
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah. One thing, I talked with Bryson on election day.
Lovely.
Later at night. The man had a very bad day, and I felt really bad for him because it was...
Sad to hear.
I mean, it wasn't just the election. It was just a shitty day, and I felt really bad for him. Obviously, this didn't fucking help, but, prayers up for my boy. I hope you're feeling better. We love you. But one thing that we talked about, because we had a sort of a quick conversation, and I've been hearing this, a little bit more because of, I don't know if you can even fucking look up the numbers easily or whatever, but Latino voters. And this is one thing that he brought up was about how, and he said the word, I'm going to make fun of him for a second. Hopefully this does make you feel better. He said, we need to have a conversation. And I fucking hate that phrase. I understand what he meant, but I fucking hate that phrase. In my head, whenever somebody says, well, we need to have a conversation about this, in my head, I hear them saying, well, we need to do a podcast about this. That's what I think of.
That's the modern equivalent. That's
I know. But anyway, what he said is that we need to have a conversation about Latino voters, and it's true. And I know this isn't what Bryson meant by this, but what we really need to have a conversation about is how the Democrats reach working class people. I know you didn't mean that Latino voters are the problem, but anyway, because they fucking suck at reaching the working class, which majority of Hispanic people are in the working class. And I mean, I've been saying this for fucking 8 years now, maybe even more, that the Democrats they're like they're like a Wall Street party now. Whereas in the past, they've been seen as, like the working class parties, very akin to like the Labour Party in the UK. They're very, very similar. And were you able to find anything or not?
I'm looking on something, but it's all projected stuff, like
Yeah,
who plans
that's
to
fine.
vote.
Yeah, that's fine. It doesn't matter. Anyway. And unfortunately for this, I really don't have any ideas, but they need to fucking do something when it comes to getting working class votes because, as we said before, it seems like they feel entitled to our votes.
And they're fucking not. It's very clear they're not.
Well, they need to do something to make me want to vote for them. Mm-hmm. Because I'm like a woman scorned over here after my Jewish elder from Brooklyn was harmed by them, not once but twice and in a row. And they need to give me something because they're not giving me something. They're just, we're not him, so vote for me.
And it's a double-edged sword too. I guess that might not be the right phrase, but it's hitting it both directions because not only are they not giving you anything as a working class individual to want to vote for them, if you've been paying attention and not just, Democrat, working class, but also Trump's campaign has been. They've been, at the very least, co-opting the idea of helping the working class. And I remember a couple of people talking about some proposed idea of making, I think it was overtime pay completely taxless. And I don't know if they'll do that. Something tells me they fucking won't.
No, they won't.
But
have you read Project 2025? They won't. But they're pretending.
They're pretending, and that's enough.
And I like that.
There's enough for enough people to give enough of a shit to vote for them.
I like to be lied to. I like con men. I really, really do. Grifters, I love them.
There's not enough grifters in the Democratic Party.
No, there aren't. I don't know if there necessarily should be more. Maybe we should try it. It seems to work very, very well for them. And that kind of dovetails, or I don't even know if that's the right word. Who gives a fuck? I'm juiced up on Red Bull, my guy. Woo! Woo! But one thing that I've definitely been thinking about recently is young men. And how much... the boys. And how the right seems to have us in a chokehold.
Cringe, but very true.
Yeah. And the numbers are changing. That's the vote numbers, the percentages.
Shitty.
Yeah, I swear to God, it just changed. Unless I'm already having hallucinations from caffeine, but yeah, it seems like they were changing. You didn't even have to refresh it either. Her number, I think, went up. Imagine if it went down. God, oh boy.
I'm actually taking back my vote for Kamala.
Fuck it, bro. Yeah. God. Gotta laugh, folks. You gotta laugh. But it's an interesting topic, when you think about like the alt-right pipeline and Jordan Peterson and Matt Walsh and fucking Ben Shapiro and all these fucking guys and how the right appeals to them. And specifically, if you want to, I don't necessarily want to give Joe Rogan credit for his influence on this thing, I certainly would give credit to Elon Musk because he threw a lot of money at this motherfucker.
Oh my God, yes.
But I did see a clip that I thought was very interesting where a guy, it was on some fucking news show or whatever, these guys in suits, so that seemed legit. But one of them said, I hope that in the future a Democratic nominee doesn't turn down going on Joe Rogan. Which there's some truth to. You might not like the guy. You might think he's a meat-headed retard. I get it. He kind of is. You know, he asked...
He even knows that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he asked people if elk meat makes them feel more vicious when they eat it. He's a lunatic. I know.
Lovely lunatic.
But this lunatic has a reach. I mean...
Didn't he host Bernie like 2 or 3 times?
I'm getting to that, yeah. There was a picture that came out like maybe a year or two ago that showed his daily listeners or viewers as compared to like MSNBC, CNN, and Fox News, and he fucking blows them out of the water. I mean, whether he likes it or not, and whether he should be or not, I personally don't think he should be a media outlet because it's a fucking podcast.
Exactly.
And podcasts are retarded. But he does have a reach. And if Donald Trump goes on it and wins, whether he's responsible for it or not, I personally don't think so. I mean, he is Joe Rogan, but he's not that fucking powerful.
Yeah.
But I think there is some truth to that. And somebody said in response to him, which I thought was very interesting, well, the left needs to find their own Joe Rogan, which is true. But then the other guy said back to him, well, they had Joe Rogan because he endorsed Bernie Sanders in 2020.
I feel like Joe Rogan being Joe Rogan, it's more about the value of the candidate in question. I don't think he had Kamala on, and I don't think he would.
Oh, he didn't. He
Donald-
wanted to.
Donald Trump is enough of a personality and
Sure.
is popular enough. I think that he would appeal to Joe Rogan's podcast. And
Yeah.
and same with where Bernie was when he came on and how interesting of a person and a candidate Bernie is in general.
Well, yeah, and that was even his second run. That wasn't even in 2016. You know? I mean, I heard him talk about he wanted to have Kamala, and it just didn't, it didn't work out. I don't know if it would have changed anything.
Oh, probably not.
I don't think she would have been able to be a real enough person on that show to get any more votes out of it because I don't think her donors would let her do that. You know what I'm saying?
They wouldn't let her do that, and we already established that she's not a very good orator. She's not very good at speeches and stuff. She's going to be way worse when you
Sure.
turn all the audio down and it's very intimate and it's one-on-one with Joe fucking Rogan. It's going to be a lot harder. That's somewhere where a guy like Donald Trump would thrive a lot better.
Well, but on the other hand, maybe it would have been nice to just hear her be sort of a regular person, just like any one of us,
Like an average working class individual.
Oh, geez,
What an interesting idea.
Maybe talk about I don't know what fucking music she listens to, or what hobbies she has, or sports. I mean, I don't know if she likes sports. Maybe that's my internalized misogyny speaking, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Just regular everyday
make
shit.
her more of a human and less of a talking head on a screen.
As they used to say about George Bush, someone you could see having a beer with. But back to our original point, I mean, I'm not sure. I think maybe we need to, as younger men, try and reframe what we deem as, pussy or gay or... I mean, it sounds stupid to say it that way, but... I mean, maybe we need to rethink that a little bit because it seems like, I mean, I don't know, these people that get sucked in by this, the fucking alt-right pipeline and, watch fucking Ben Shapiro dominate 12-year-olds or whatever. Are people still doing that? I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I grew out of it.
I'm very out of touch. I have no idea. I mean,
I grew out of that like most young men my age, but there's also a significant number of them that very much did not.
They're probably just listening to Jordan Peterson now or something. I have no idea. But, I mean... I don't fucking know, man. I mean, I think you know, all of that shit comes out of being a young man and trying to figure out your own masculinity and what that actually is. And then being a young person and seeing these, you know, strong and powerful and even intelligent people, and then being insecure because you're fucking 16 and you don't have that yet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then I think what starts to happen is you idolize like the wrong people, you know,
Definitely.
fucking Christian Bale in American Psycho, or Tony Soprano, or, you know, I don't, you know, just the fucking meme where it's like you have the wrong idea for idolizing them, starter pack or whatever the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about. We've all seen it. But and I don't even know where to begin to fucking fix that, you know what I mean? Maybe it is cleaning your room. I don't know.
It's and that's oh man, that's what makes it so hard. The cleaning your room shit. That's adjacent to that anyway, because it's not like these people are complete psychopaths. They're not just constantly spewing bullshit. It's well, you should clean your room.
Well, there's truth to what he
there's truth
says.
to what he says. There's truth to things that Ben Shapiro will say, or fucking Andrew Tate, or
Yeah.
God forbid Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, a broken clock is right twice a day.
Of
or
course.
Once a day. I don't know the fucking saying.
And almost always, because there's people around me that are omega sucked into that world. That's their whole fucking
yeah.
their whole feed.
Yeah.
And the things you always hear them talk about is it's usually in response to someone like vilifying one of these idols. And then they'll be like, well, this one time Jordan Peterson talked about like how valuable it is to clean your room, or Andrew Tate talked about what it meant to, you know, save money, and you know, some gay shit like that.
Yeah, of
and it's like,
course.
well, what is this ridiculous? And you have to say, well, no, but look at this other laundry list of things, and then they
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
It's easy for them to turn a blind eye to that when they love this person so much. It's what's the I can't think of the term. You're falling for someone. I want to say social engineering, but it's not even remotely close. It's like parasocial. You have a parasocial relationship with somebody who's
Like me and our buddy.
yeah,
Yeah.
who's spitting bullshit at you.
Yeah,
with an
yeah.
agenda, usually getting paid.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I maybe the answer is like alternative heroes. You know, maybe more guys like Destiny or whatever. You know, because Destiny's a good debater. He's a very open leftist, and I mean, he's not. I don't necessarily know how people view him, but I mean, he's not like a nebbish, scrawny guy or whatever. You know, he's not. I guess he. And like I said, I don't know how people view him, but maybe they see that he has some sort of power or what. You know, maybe we need more people like that instead of Andrew Tate.
Yeah, less power and like, fuck you, fuck women, I hate everybody, look at my huge muscles and my billions of dollars.
yeah.
And more like, I am intellectually sound in the things that I say. I have morality. I have a care for the people around me, and it's like a respect for those sort of ideas. If we could find more people like that represent a more healthy interpretation of all of the things that masculinity is and can be, that'd be better.
And true compassion, like, you know, the type of compassion that, you know, causes a person who's born into poverty to grow up and then go off and fight the fucking Nazis and save the world. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I thought that specifically was something that was very important to touch on.
And it definitely is, because people like that 100% contribute to, I don't want to say the end goal, because that sounds shallow as fuck, being America of all places, but the end goal being this map.
Yeah.
Or any sort of popularity contest between, I hate bipartisan thought, but usually it comes down to tribalism, two ideas. And people like that, big figures like that, contribute to the separation between those two ideas, whatever they might be.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you bring that up, because this is a thought that I had throughout the week. And it's interesting to me that politics are taken this seriously and people are, you know, this fucking into them and, influenced by them and shit. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't be, because it's especially important, especially now.
Right.
Because this is serious. Like, this
very
is,
serious.
yeah, this is fucking alarm bells ringing, right? But I think it's weird to me because I think back to, like, even when I was a kid, you see, like, hockey riots or, like, people getting in fights over, like, sporting events or, just random bullshit. And now it just seems to be exclusively politics and ideology, which is very interesting. And I know the comparison's been made before that this is just sports now.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's on their own team and they're, fighting against each other. But it did make me think for a minute, maybe we need to bring violence back to sports and some other aspects of our lives, so that way we can
Out of our systems.
so we can calm the fuck down about shit that actually matters. You know what I mean? I don't know. Philly seems to freak out every time there's some sort of sporting event going on there, Maybe we need to learn from those fucking retards from Delaware County, Maybe there's something to that. That reminds me of another thing that I did want to talk about was her, some interesting shit that I learned about her VP pick this week, Tim Walz. Number one, I learned that she was quoted as saying that she picked him while she was sleep deprived.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's wicked.
That's true. You can look that up if you want to.
Where did she say that?
I'm not sure, but I saw the quote. And he's a lefty guy. So he's not like fucking Joseph Stalin or whatever, but he's a leftist, which, is good. But he's from Minnesota. And Minnesota, as you'll remember, during 2020 was where, the country began burning for a summer. And, a popular thing that kept getting reposted this week was, his wife talking about smelling the tire smoke during the riots and really taking it in and leaving the windows open to her house for as long as she could so she could take in the tire smoke, and how strong of a moment it was. It's very, I don't know.
I see what she's going for, because it's like sensual. It's I don't know if that's the right word, but it's very of the senses. It's similar to what Trump does. He attaches sight and sound and idea to a moment that people can remember better.
Well, yeah, I think lots of people do that, but it's very interesting that she would say something as weird as, I'm going to fill up my house with tire smoke because of these riots. It's odd. Another thing about him is he lies a lot about very unimportant things. He was quoted as saying he was like a sports coach or something like that. He started off by saying, well, I was an assistant coach, and then a couple weeks later, well, I was the head coach. And then, like, he talked about his military rank, and he was like, well, I was a private. Now I'm a colonel. And, oh, yeah, I was fighting in the war. What war? What are you talking about? Which, and I already know what I'm going to be met with. Trump does do that, too. I'm not saying he's not a liar. But it was a very interesting choice because there was another guy from Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, the governor. Mm-hmm. And I think he would have been a better VP pick over Tim Walz, because Pennsylvania was this race. It was the biggest battleground state, I believe. It was the most important. And I think if she would have picked him over Tim Walz, maybe she would have won. I don't know. But a lot of the problems that people had with Josh Shapiro is he's Jewish.
Jewish.
Well, what's going on over there right now with the Palestinian children being murdered and all of us watching it. And I think they wanted to stay as far away from that. But I don't know. I think maybe that would have done something for her campaign. I don't know, but I'm just speculating. I'm thinking out loud here. Mm-hmm. But anyway, and then what I kept seeing lots of articles after this was sort of what we were talking about the the Democrats needing to focus on the workers, you know. And I personally think they need to fucking gut that party from the inside out and just start completely over, you know. Get rid of all the woke fundamentalism completely. I mean, you can co-opt some of the ideas and shit like that, like we talked about earlier. You know, don't be fucking racist and, you know, mean to
Right.
people
I
and
think
shit.
it's more important not that they're so vocal about it and standing 5 foot tall on their soapbox with a pinky in the air and their fucking top hat and
Right.
monocle. Look how not racist we are. Here's how to not be racist, but just don't. Trump's campaign is already doing all of those things, so just don't be those things and speak by action, and it will resonate with a shit ton of people.
Well, talk to people about shit that they actually care about. Like the amount of people that I know personally that were like, I'm voting for grocery prices. I'm voting for gas prices.
Literally.
That's worker shit. You know what I'm saying? That's people who work for a living. That's who's saying that.
Because if Kamala's campaign matched Trump's freak on vying for fixing the gas prices, the grocery prices, inflation, housing.
Sure.
And if they had all of those ideas, well, now you're at an equal playing field. And now people have to look a little bit closer and read into, well, who's actually presenting the better ideas. And then all you have to do is present decent ideas, and then you win by proxy.
Oh, wow. People would actually try and educate themselves? Imagine that.
That'd be crazy.
Crazy idea that is.
America? No.
Yeah, well, one article that I specifically saw that I thought was very interesting, but I also saw quite a few other people talking about it, was they need another Bill Clinton. They need another folksy working class boy from the South or boy from fucking wherever. They need another Bill Clinton. And one of the very specific things that I saw was, here's one you can look up, is his Sister Soldier speech.
Whose?
Bill Clinton.
I thought as much, but no.
Yeah. And I'll give a little bit of context. This is a race-related thing. And race relations are not very great right now. So I think it plays a role. But
Do you want the video?
yeah, about how long is it?
2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And finally,
But this was after the LA riots in
always been best
1992.
about the Rainbow Coalition, which is people coming together across racial lines. You talked about Mr. Fields from Louisiana that you had here last night, a great role model. We don't have a lot of time to do this. We don't have a lot of time. You had a rap singer here last night named Sister Soldier. I defend her right to express herself through music. But her comments before and after Los Angeles were filled with the kind of hatred that you do not honor today and tonight. Just listen to this, what she said. She told the Washington Post about a month ago, and I quote, "If black people kill black people every day, why not have a week and kill white people? So you're a gang member and you normally kill somebody? Why not kill a white person?" Last year she said, "You can't call me or any black person anywhere in the world a racist. We don't have the power to do to white people what white people have done to us. And even if we did, we don't have that low-down, dirty nature. If there are any good white people, I haven't met them. Where are they? Right here in this room. That's where they are." I know she is a young person, but she has a big influence on a lot of people. And when people say that, if you took the words white and black and you reversed them, you might think David Duke was giving that speech. Let me tell you, we all make mistakes, and sometimes we're not as sensitive as we ought to be. And we have an obligation, all of us, to call attention to prejudice wherever we see it. A few months ago, I made a mistake. I joined a friend of mine and I played golf at a country club that didn't have any African-American members. I was criticized for doing it. You know what? I was rightly criticized for doing it. I made a mistake. And I said I would never do that again. And I think all of us have got to be sensitive to that. We can't get anywhere in this country pointing the finger at one another across racial lines. If we do that, we're dead, and they will beat us. Even in Reverend Jackson's new math of this election, it's hard to get to a 34% solution or a 40% solution if the American people can be divided by race.
Listen, was he a pedophile? Probably. Human trafficker? Yeah, probably. He was on the island. We all know that. But
Damn good speaker.
the man could speak. He could talk. That is for sure.
That's an eloquence neither of the parties have had for the last fucking...
It's been a minute.
It's been a hot fucking minute since probably...
I would say
probably since Obama.
I would say Obama. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And, you know, I don't remember Kamala having a moment like that in her campaign.
Never.
You know, like we talked about earlier, if she would have, you know, renounced Biden and then complimented Trump on what he did, she could have had a moment like that. And it could have really fucking changed things. But the problem is that woman can't speak without a teleprompter. She can't do speeches like that. She can't hold court. That's not what she does. She's a very different person than him.
And part of me wants to say that doesn't matter. If you are willing to present good ideas and you're going to do good things for the country, if you can't, even if you speak like Joe Biden, but you are good in the way that you run the country, that's more important. But is that what America sees? Does everyone feel that way? Fucking no. They see a speech like that and they go, "That guy gets my vote."
Yeah.
Part of God.
Optics exist.
Optics are like 90%. And Trump is good with fucking optics. He's damn good.
Did you ever watch The Apprentice? It was a good show. It was a good show. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Real quick, I guess, for all of you blue-haired folks that are watching, if you're not hanging from your ceiling fans right now, I would like to say that there are some potential positives of him being president, you know.
What would those be?
He's not as much of a war hawk. He might get us to stop sending money to Ukraine. He might
real, God forbid. Although
he might do some serious hand forcing on Israel and calm that shit down. I mean, I don't know, but it is possible. I want to mention it.
I've been told, of course, by some of the more right-leaning people that I know, I've been told that he gets into office, the war in Ukraine stops, everything in Gaza stops.
Obviously that's not true. And
I don't feel like that's the case.
There's the article going around right now where it's like Hamas is calling for an end to the conflict now that Trump is presidency. If you read the article, it's not true. It's complete bullshit. But realistically, like genuinely, those conflicts might change. The complexion of them might be altered, and that would be a good thing because people aren't dying.
Yeah, 100%.
And also, you know, Project 2025 is scary. I understand. I get it. It's the gravity of it is very, very serious. Especially for, you know, my trans friends and my black friends, my POCs out there. But quite possibly this could radicalize people to show up in the midterms and flip some shit around a little bit. And maybe we only have to deal with 2 real years of bullshit. I don't fucking know. I'm kind of grasping at straws here, but
more hopes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are possible hopes of maybe good will prevail. I don't know. Hey.
Just out of curiosity, because I remember skimming it a while ago and being quite worried, and then being told there was a redraft of it, and then being told it wasn't going to happen. I figured that was bullshit.
Yeah.
And then being told it was a Russian conspiracy and all of these other fucking things. What about what What couple of things from Project 2025 would you be the most worried about in terms of things that you think have potential to radicalize people against Trump and his ideas?
Well, he wants to a little context here. Project 2025 comes from the Heritage Foundation, which is a think tank that started around the time Ronald Reagan took office in 1981. And it comes from the dude behind Coors, the beer, which is it's interesting. But and it's been a long, it's been long coming for a long, long time. Personally, the things that freak me out the most is the slashing of funding for like the Department of Education, the FBI, Homeland Security, the EPA, no more environmental protections, shit like that, which could take a very long time to fix. I mean, obviously, smaller stuff like banning contraceptives or, little shit like that it's not little, but it only affects like personal lives of people.
Yeah.
Whereas removing entire parts of the government are a lot more fucking serious.
The EPA, correct me if I'm wrong, that only came because of the Exxon Valdez, I think it is. Maybe? It was some
It started around the 70s.
Yeah, some series of fucking disasters led to that. So we're going to have to deal with another series of disasters to get anything close to that back if that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also not I'm not hugely in favor of the idea of banning contraceptives either.
Yeah, of course not. I mean, it all sucks, but what freaks me out is the more serious shit, serious to me anyway. But like I said, the Democrats need to get to work, man. They need to gut that fucking party from the inside out and start over. Focus on the workers, focus on everybody, not just woke people on Twitter. And they need to find working class heroes like Bill Clinton or, whatever. But the unfortunate thing about that is like, where are they now? You pushed Bernie Sanders away. You pushed all these people away. Maybe what the Democrats need to do is, because they used to have all these working class heroes, but they're gone now, and it's partially their fault because of the cancel culture and all this shit. But maybe what they need to do is they need to get out a Ouija board and open up Epstein's little black book and start resurrecting some of these guys and bringing them back from the dead. Because we're pretty short on working class heroes right about now.
Yeah, and a lot of the would-be working class heroes, a lot of who are literally just members of the working class, not people with suits and a lot of money who can represent them well.
Sure.
A lot of them have fallen under, once again, optics. And they are currently the people who are sitting at home having slotted a ballot for Donald Trump.
Yep.
And that some of it, I would say it's probably like a 75-25. Like 75% of it is the optics of Trump and his campaign and all the things he promises, big quotations, pulling those people in. And the other 25% is vilification from the side of people of more left-leaning thought or Democrats.
Yeah, I agree.
Cancel culture and whatnot, if you will.
Well, I think with all of that, I mean, obviously, like I've said several times, obviously being racist and raping women.
Pretty bad.
It is bad.
Pretty bad.
Nobody's saying it's not. But I think you guys are getting a little ahead of yourselves. Making that the focal point of your political party is not...
Because you can only...
I don't want to say that there are bigger issues at hand, but you're having a problem because of focusing on that shit. You're having a problem appealing to regular people.
Yeah.
Maybe focus on some more universal shit than what's popular on Twitter.
Things to deal with money, for the most part. things to do with money, the accumulation of money, the obtaining money, saving money, where you can spend money, how much money.
Yeah.
A lot of it has to deal with money. Most average people's actual struggles. Unless you're sitting on Twitter rotting for 20 hours a fucking day,
Sure.
most people are not dealing with constant, unceasing fucking racism and sexism and transphobia and bigotry and everything.
Exactly.
So, like, have that be something you talk about, but for that to be the focal point, once you stop being racist, what value are you providing
Yeah.
to
That's
your ideals?
that's a great point. What if all of these issues were fixed overnight? What would a Democratic campaign look like?
It'd be a
You know what I mean?
skeleton crew.
Exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, I don't fucking know, man.
A lot of work.
A lot of work.
Democrats have their fucking work cut out for them.
And listen, I would be willing, if they do actually put the work in, I'd be willing to give them my votes again. But as a socialist, as an independent, they've got some work to fucking do.
Got hella work to do.
So, I guess my closing statement on this whole thing will be fuck Hillary Clinton, fuck Joe Biden, fuck Kamala Harris, and fuck the Democratic Party. This is your fault. Again, you've made your bed. Now take a nap.
Take a long fucking Joe Biden themed nap.
That's all I've got to say, really.
And for my closing statement, I'll say, they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. I ate Hillary. Hillary. I ate Hillary. I ate Kamala this campaign. It's terrible. She did a terrible job.
You know what's funny is I kind of let my Trump impression slip over the past 4 years. I'm going to have to get better at that again.
You're gay.
Yeah. Yeah. They're eating the dogs. I kept seeing that clip because he goes dogs like it's real New York.
They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. That's terrible. Those Asian people. Yeah, this is all the fault of Shoot for Blue. Womp womp.
Yeah. Well, that was part of the reason why it was weirdly making me happy that he was winning because I like seeing Democrats upset. It's fun to see them upset. It really is. And it's their fault that it's like that. Again, it really, really is. But, yeah. Oh,
An exhilarating episode.
that is an hour.
A serious, an air of seriousness for the first time. It's a Fumcast first, if you will.
It is an hour.
It's an hour.
Is it good? No.
I think it was good.
Funny? No.
It was good.
But it is an hour.
It was politically good, so it's like
Yeah.
it's good in the way that like medicine is good. It doesn't taste good. You don't enjoy doing it, but it's
I do not agree with you.
good. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to scavenge something. I'm grasping at like really tiny straws.
You're being very kind, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm being a real Democrat about it.
Yeah.
Fucking Christ.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Well, thanks for listening, folks. I don't know. I got this thing in here. I might teach you about the LA riots. 'Cause I don't know. We gotta eat up another hour before I can go back to trying to buy illegal Chinese clothing and editing this podcast, trying to set up Alipay. But yeah, thanks for listening, folks.
Thanks for listening.
And we'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Good night.